But it's clear to me this judge already hates Team Trump, and I don't think he's going to give them much of a delay on this trial. There's Team Trump wants a 90-day delay, and the DA's office said you can have 30 days. I predict it'll be a 30-day delay. This judge can't stand them either, Michael.
Megyn Kelly, former Fox News host, former NBC host, has been sucking up and kissing up to Donald Trump. How's that working out for her? Well, we're going to take a look at a couple of clips of Megyn Kelly, again kissing up to Donald Trump, and then we'll see what Donald Trump recently had to say about Megyn Kelly. Is she in his good graces? Is she part of MAGA? Let's find out. So Megyn Kelly was a former Fox News host, and she left Fox News to go to NBC, and the reason why was Donald Trump. This is an article from Variety from September 21st, 2017, and the headline is Megyn Kelly says she left Fox News because of Trump. So she went on the Ellen show, the now defunct Ellen show, and she said Donald Trump has a way of clarifying one's life choices. Just as I was sort of wondering if primetime news was where I wanted to be and how I wanted to live, the universe came and shone a light, and it was clear to me what I wanted to do. Kelly added, Bill O'Reilly, of all people, told me when I got to cable news primetime that cable news sometimes is a snake pit. And that's how I felt. And I didn't want to be in the snake pit. I just wanted to cover the news. She said Trump's controversial tweets about her, which he posted after her questions at a debate early in the campaign cycle, were just a clarification and confirmation that she didn't want to live in the toxicity of the cable news environment. So she left Fox News because she didn't like the things that Donald Trump had to say about her, and she went to NBC, where she tried to be kind of a centrist-y person after leaving the right-wing outlet at Fox News. She lasted about a year there before they fired her. And now she is on YouTube, and she's swung back to the right, and she's doing a lot of culture war type of stuff. This is woke, and that's woke, and all that kind of thing. And she also is trying to kiss the ring of Donald Trump to get his favor and also the favor of his fans. Let's take a look at a couple of clips here of her kissing up to Donald Trump. In this first clip here, she talks about a legal scholar who is talking about how Trump's judgment in one of the New York cases, they reduced the amount that he owes from 400 and some million down to 150 million. And here's what this legal expert has to say. She's quoting him here.
Then we have Lawrence Tribe, Harvard law professor, the sort of nemesis of Alan Dershowitz in some ways, Michael, and a committed lefty who writes, the New York Appellate Court's unexplained reduction from $454 million to $175 million in the bond Trump must post in 10 days to secure the judgment pending appeal is a travesty of justice. Let's hope public disgust with this preferential treatment will come back to bite Trump politically. He's getting more favorable treatment than the average civilian would. That is the position of Mr. Tribe. What do you make of it, Professor?
So she is scoffing at the idea of Trump getting preferential treatment, and then she's going to go to this guy, Michael Knowles, who's from the Daily Wire. And this is hilarious to me. Trump absolutely gets preferential treatment. This guy was a con man for decades, doing fraudulent things, ripping people off, not paying them. And it wasn't until he got under the microscope of being the president that prior to this, he could just outspend people, outweight them. But once he became president, he was under a much larger microscope. And now he is actually maybe going to face some real consequences for the first time in his life. So any regular person that had done 1/10 of the things that Donald Trump has done during the course of their lives would be in prison.
Well, I guess 150 million is preferable to 450 million. So in that limited sense, that's true. But I don't think the most committed anti-Trumper in the world could say that Trump has gotten preferential treatment from our justice system.
All kinds of people are saying he's gotten preferential treatment. Again, any normal person would have had all their assets seized by now, and they would be in prison.
At any point since he descended the golden escalator at Trump Tower. Consistently and from the very beginning, the justice system has been demonstrably corrupted, perverted to destroy him, to destroy his campaign by spying on him and colluding with the Democrats and the Russians to cook up a bunch of nonsense about him, then to undermine his presidency, then to oust him twice, and then to change the election rules so he doesn't get reelected, and now to imprison him throwing spaghetti at a wall when you look at the prosecutions, to seize his properties.
So they're just throwing spaghetti at the wall. They're just making things up. No. Finally, for the first time in Trump's life, he's actually being held to account. Instead of being able to get away with defrauding people and not paying people, there are all kinds of cases where he just doesn't pay people. This is why Trump has such difficulty getting decent attorneys, and he has to have people like, in the past, Rudy Giuliani be his attorney. Attorneys know that if they work for Trump, they're not going to get paid, and he's not going to listen to them. Right-wingers and MAGA want to make out like Trump, oh, poor Trump, he's been so put upon, and they've been out to get him since the beginning. No, he's finally being held to account. We'll see if anything actually happens to him. As we've seen, they reduce the amount that he's going to have to pay. They keep pushing, using legal techniques to push these cases off further and further in hopes that they will get to the election, that he'll get elected, and then he can just make all this go away because he'll be the president.
Hey, let me just play that in case people haven't heard it, because you can hear the glee, like the controlled glee and anticipation in Letitia James's voice when she's talking about waiting to see whether he could post this $454 million bond. Stop 3.
If he does not have funds to pay off the judgment, then we will seek, judgment enforcement mechanisms in court, and we will ask the judge to seize his assets. We are prepared to make sure that the judgment is paid to New Yorkers. And yes, I look at 40 Wall Street each and every day.
Wow. Each and every day. Well, she's going to have to look at something else for the time being, because this thing's been reduced and she's not going to be seizing any buildings. And
Wow. So Letitia James, I don't hear any glee in her voice there. She's speaking very calmly, matter-of-factly. She's not laughing. She's not smiling. She's not rubbing her hands together maniacally and saying, look, we're going to take all these assets away from Trump. This is nuts. She's following the law. Trump has, their case is that Trump has broken the law, and by committing fraud, overinflating his assets to get loans, and then claiming that they're not worth as much to reduce his tax burden, that's fraud. They're just following the law and holding Trump to it. Preferential treatment would be to not let him get away with all of this, which is probably going to happen anyway, because we have such a corrupt, broken system in the United States.
meanwhile, in another New York courtroom down the road, there is a criminal trial that was supposed to begin today. This is one of the big 4 criminal trials against Trump. This is the Stormy Daniels hush money payment trial. The judge, who definitely doesn't like Trump, is like, you know what, even though I don't like you, I have to recognize I can't start the trial on Monday. And they're in there this morning discussing when to start this trial, and it's not yet settled as of the time we're taping this at 12:13. But it sounds like this judge is just as much of a Trump hater as Judge Engoron in the other one, Michael. The judge is cross-examining Trump's lawyer. Why, as a U.S. attorney, didn't you know that you could immediately seek these documents you wanted from the feds? You waited until 2 months before the trial. This guy, I think, is saying, I asked for the documents from the DA. It was his obligation to get them if they were relevant to this case, blah, blah, blah. But it's clear to me this judge already hates Team Trump. And I don't think he's going to give them much of a delay on this trial. There's Team Trump wants a 90-day delay. And the DA's office said you can have 30 days. I predict it'll be a 30-day delay. This judge can't stand them either, Michael.
In these couple of clips that I've shown here, Megyn Kelly, it's clear she is trying to simp for Trump. She's trying to get Trump's fans, all of MAGA, to like her, which is essentially the Republican Party at this point. The Republican Party is MAGA, and MAGA is the Republican Party. She's trying to get in the good graces of Donald Trump. She is really pushing hard, and she's trying to lick Trump's boots. Let's see if that's working out for her. Donald Trump recently spoke about Megyn Kelly at one of his rallies. Let's take a look at that.
It worked, and then I got on television, and they asked me that horrible, horrible question, remember? And I said, oh, my dad, that's the first question I ever got. Megyn Kelly, may she rest in peace. She's sort of making a career by pretending she likes me.
Doesn't look to me like it's working, Megyn Kelly. Trump sees through what she's trying to do. He hasn't forgotten 2017 when she left Fox News because of him and tried to become a centrist, and it didn't work out. People were buying it. Now she's back on the far right, and she is doing everything she can to suck up to Trump and to MAGA, and it doesn't look to me like it's working. But let me know what you think in the comments. Should Donald Trump go easier on Megyn Kelly? Should he view her as an ally she's obviously trying to get his message out there and is fighting for him. She's saying that these judges are out to get him in all of this. Or is Trump right? Is she just pretending to like him? Regardless, it looks like Megyn Kelly is going to continue trying to be on Team Trump. Let's see where that takes her. Make sure to leave a comment, give me a like, and a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.